What's up, YouTube? You know what time it is. It's MightyFan time, and this is Jersey collecting vlog number 5. I know, like back to back, right? Like 4 and 5, right? I'm glad people enjoy these. I certainly have enjoyed putting these out there. You know, they're fun to do, and you know I tend to ramble on at times, but that's just how I am. So I I thank you all for enjoying the vlog so far and hanging in there with me. I definitely appreciate that. I'm glad that people enjoy it. It's something I'm going to continue to do as long as there are topics to talk about. I'm going to do it every now and then. I might do a vlog, just, you know, not have jerseys in there, but just anything, maybe sports or something like that. But certainly, you know, it's something that I'm going to continue to do more of. There is a topic to talk about in this vlog. The first thing I want to say is welcome to the Phillies family. Mickey Moniak, the number 1 overall draft pick in the 2016 draft. Mickey Moniak out of California, an outfielder from high school. And I will say this, the Phillies in recent years have had some success drafting talent out of the great state of California. I mean, we may look no further than the '08 team that had World Series MVP Cole Hamels out of the San Diego area. We had the bane of Met fans everywhere, but Chase Utley. We still love you here, Chase. Don't let those Met fans get you down. They're just sour about not winning a championship in 30 years. But anyhow, the Chase Utley, of course, from California, and Jimmy Rollins. The Phillies never had a official team captain, but if there was a team captain, it would have been J. Roll, the shortstop for many years, one of the first to come up through the systems in that grouping of players that produced a championship. Out of the Bay Area, the Oakland area, J. Roll, of course, so now Mickey Moniak out of the state of California comes to the Phillies. So welcome to the family there, Mickey, and wish you all the best of success the years coming up through the system, and then to the big club hopefully someday soon. They say he's a really good player, so you know let's hope it works out. You know, certainly I know recently the Phillies have needed some help on offense, so hopefully they do better before he comes up. But yeah, drafting a good offensive young player, good hitter, young hitter, I should say, it is certainly something this team certainly could use more of. So hopefully things work out, and in years to come we can see him here in the big club and you know, doing some great things and keeping that California lineage going here in Philly. So like I said, in recent years worked out pretty good. So hopefully that continues on with the first number 1, the second ever number 1 overall pick for the Phillies. The first, of course, being Pat Burrell. That worked out pretty good too. Pat was on the '08 team. He was the grand marshal of the parade in '08 on Halloween, and is also a Phillies Wall of Fame member. So that worked out pretty good drafting Pat back then. And now Mickey Moniak out of California coming to the Phillies family. So that's pretty cool. And of course the Sixers draft number 1 in a few weeks too. So some exciting and dramatic times coming up here in Philly. It's always it's always scary, you know, when you're drafting high, because you know when you draft high you got to hit. And the last time the Sixers drafted number 1 overall, which was 20 years ago, it was Mr. Iverson, who's going to be inducted to the Hall of Fame later this year, and my all-time favorite Sixer. So hopefully the Sixers hit again this time around, 20 years later. You know, whoever they draft, if it's Simmons, if it's Ingram, whoever, it looks like it might be Simmons. If he can have half the career that Iverson had, that's a good pick. So that's all we can hope for, right? So enough of the damn tanking. Just start producing. But anyhow, I digress from that. I do want to say also a little plug here. You can now find me on Instagram If you are a member of Instagram, if you're not, it's really easy to sign up. It's free too, so that's always a good thing, right? If you are on Instagram or sign up on Instagram, you can find me at MightyFan. That's all one word, just like on the titles of these videos, MightyFan. I am going to have pictures of my entire collection, jersey by jersey. It's going to be a bit of a process. When you have about 500, maybe more jerseys in the collection, it's going to be a process. But that being said, I will have pictures. My goal is to take about pictures of 10 jerseys a day, maybe a little more on the weekends, we'll see. But I would like to get the entire collection on there. Kind of a way to catalog it all. I don't have any spreadsheets or anything, like Excel spreadsheets or anything with my collection on there. It's been something that I've thought about doing, but I always thought it would be better just to get it in picture form. I know I kind of have a catalog of it here on YouTube if you ever want to binge watch my channel. From the beginning and back in 2009. My God. But, I remember back in the day, maybe like, 5, 6, 7 years ago, I used to have a photo bucket page. And I used to take pictures of my jerseys on the, with a camera. And then I would download the pictures onto the, well, at that time it was my desktop PC before it died years ago. And I used to go from that, and then I would go to PhotoBucket, and you would upload it, upload the file on there, and then put it on. It was a long process. It took a little doing, but now it's as we know, it's just boom, it's done. You take a picture, you put it on Facebook, right? It's so easy. Well, I wanted a source just for the jerseys, the pictures, and I know Instagram's a popular site, so I got on there last night, made a page, made an account, and started putting some pictures up right away. I got my All-Star Jordans up there right now. And like I said, I'm going to be going through it jersey by jersey. I'm going to start with the NBA. I'm going to go Mitchell & Ness to start. Mitchell & Ness NBA. The only exception will be the Nike black red pinstripe Jordan that I have, because I'm doing all the Jordan jerseys first from Mitchell & Ness. I got to throw that one in there because that's part of it, even though it's not a Mitchell & Ness jersey. But I'm going to go NBA, MLB, NFL, and NHL. I'm going to start with everything Mitchell & Ness besides that one Jordan. And then after that, it will be all the authentics, and then it will be the vintage, maybe a few swingmans here and there. It just depends on what I want to do. But the entire collection, Mitchell & Ness, authentic, and vintage for sure, will all be up there. And then, of course, after all the pictures are done, however long that's going to take, as I get new jerseys to the fold, I'll have pictures of those, and I'll just upload them once I get them. And so, yeah, if you want to, feel free to follow me on there. Again, it's MightyFan, one word. And, yeah, you'll see the jerseys, and you can see the collection. It's not all up there now. It's a work in progress. It will take some time. But like I said, I hope to get like 10 jerseys a day pictured and posted on there, some with the matching hats. It just depends on what I want to do. And I'm going to have fun with it. So hopefully, if anyone wants to follow me on there, make sure you do so, and all are welcome. So just a little shameless plug there. But anyhow, I got the email today, and this is the main topic of discussion. I got the email today from Mitchell & Ness, and it is the official start of the 2016 Father's Day sale. 30% off jerseys, outerwear, meaning like jackets and such, and hats. It's one of their three big sales a year. Of course, the biggest being the winter sale, as far as in-store goes, 50% off. The Father's Day sale, the last few years, it's been 30%. This year's 30%. And of course, the Black Friday sale, which the percentage is always like fluxed over time. It's like 40%, it's 30%. You never quite know what it's going to be. But last few years has been like 30, 35%. But at least it's something. And, every now and then they'll do a flash sale or something online, but these are the three main ones, the mainstays. And I'm looking forward to it. There's a couple things I want to get off their website. And then next Saturday I'll be going there to the store. I'm going to meet up with Mark M, my buddy Mark M. We're going to meet up there. We're going to meet up with another Jersey head. At least that's the plan anyhow. And Ken Clark, one of the guys, local Jersey collectors from the groups on Facebook. We're going to meet up and have a good time. Maybe do some shopping. Have good conversation and, just enjoy the day. And, I always look forward to it. I know that the brand isn't what it used to be. And, there's been a lot of talk over the years, and I don't really want to go too crazy into that, but there's been a lot, of course, a lot of talk in the groups and everything amongst collectors and the newer run stuff, why it's not as good, the older run stuff, and you don't have to tell me that twice. I know. I mean, I have plenty of the older run jerseys, and I have plenty of the newer run jerseys, and I know the difference. The older run stuff's always going to win. The older run stuff is always going to win out. It is quality all the way. But I will say this, that they're still putting stuff out that I like and I want to have. And as any collector, you're always going to collect for you. Everyone's collection is going to be kind of a showcase of what they like. It's the way it's always been for me. It's the way it's always been for any collector. I love the older run Mitchell & Ness stuff. I first started collecting, I want to say it was like 06, 07, but it was right at the kind of tail end of the big boom, right? The big jersey boom, where everyone was going after it because of it was all in pop culture and, rap videos and all this and that, and hip hop culture, and then, all the other stuff it was in. So of course back then people were just going crazy over it. And, so I kind of came in towards the tail end of that. And what I would like to talk about in this vlog is kind of reminisce a little bit. I remember, because when I always think about going to the store for a sale, I always look forward to it. It might not be what it used to, but it's still something I look forward to. And I always think about the old trips that I used to have to the store and the old location when it was on Chestnut Street. And I always remember those original kind of trips to the store. And you talk about a Jersey head's paradise. I mean, that was it. Back then, you would go to the store, and some of you probably who have been there know what I'm talking about. And those of you who don't, well, I'm sorry you missed out, because the store used to be on Chestnut Street, and it wasn't its original location, but it was the original location for me. I would go to it's the Macy's building. I mean, I remember it as the Wanamaker building back in the day when I was growing up. But it's the Macy's building now. It's basically a block long. You would go in there on Market Street. I would get off the bus. I always take the bus because save on parking. And when you're a collector, you just learn to save on certain things just so you can. So I always take the bus. I always take SEPTA downtown. And I would get off the bus, go into Macy's, go through Macy's, go out the back doors, and kind of catty corner from the back of Macy's was Mitchell & Ness across the street on Chestnut. You would go there, and the first thing you would see, they would have these big like display windows. It wasn't a big store; it was a small store. The current store is small too, so I guess they just have a tradition of that. I don't know, but you would see these huge display windows. And they would have, little displays in the windows. And they had, like, hats. And they had, like, some helmets maybe or whatever. Some authentic helmets. Old vintage stuff. And then they would have the jerseys. And they would be kind of lined up. The newest stuff, whatever they were putting out. And they had it there. And then you would walk in. And I don't know if any of you know what I'm talking about. When you have, like an older run Mitchell & Ness jersey, and it has that kind of old. I don't know. It's like a fabricy smell. It has some sort of. It has like. It has this little faint kind of. Um, it's not wool, but it's like a. It has like a distinct kind of smell to it. Not a bad smell, but just like a clothing kind of like an old kind of vintage clothing smell. You would walk in there, and that's the smell that would come. Because you would walk in, and they had the register over to the side, and you go in there, and I tell you, it was racks, big round racks, maybe 4 deep, down the store, and the back of the store they had a big like full length mirrors to make the store look bigger than it was. But they would have these racks, and it would just be all jerseys, older run jerseys. Some of the China stuff because they were starting to move into that range, but it was just El Salvador, USA, Korea, Mexico, whatever, old run jerseys, just racks of it. And then they had a few racks of jackets, not that many, but a few, and maybe one thing of t-shirts. Like if you wanted shirts, you would have to ask them. Because back then that was not really what they were too, big into. They were still, like I said, it was the tail end of it, but it was still, the jerseys were still something that was driving them. So that all it was racks of jerseys. And then they had the sale racks at the back. They had a lot of jackets on there. They had jerseys on there. And then they had a wall, like the register was here, and then they would have a wall that was like towards the back after the register, and it was just all hats. And it's just all hats for sale. And it was paradise. Back then, I mean, that is what got me into this. That first trip into the store, the holidays, I think it was 06 or something like that. 06. I want to say it was either 05 or 06, the holidays. And that just, I walked in there, and that's just changed everything for me. And the trip, I just always remember going there for the sales and just being so excited about it, because it was my chance of getting, these jerseys in the store. When I go there, I can't buy them at those prices, but the sale, I can pick out a few and I can get them. And so I always, at least in the store, eBay was a whole nother story, but in the store. So, but yeah, I mean, that old location, I still think about, that. And, even towards the end of it, when they were, moving from that location to where they are now, which is basically maybe less than a block down, or towards Market Street than what they were, but they had like all these different jerseys on sale, on sale racks, and there was a lot of the older stuff. And that's when I picked up my Ken Stabler Saints jersey, and I still remember, seeing a rack of Sixers jerseys, older run Sixer jerseys, and they had that. And since I've picked it up, but they had that Billy Cunningham there, the white one with that scripted big, 76ers on the front. They had they had a few of the older stuff. I think they had some old Dr. J jerseys. Just and it was all there. It was like that's where it was like. And back then, I wasn't really collecting basketball. Back then, I was more into football and baseball. And I could still remember seeing. And it's funny because some of the jerseys that I didn't get back then became like just ones that took forever for me to get because they're hard to get. But the two that I always remember, the first was the Isaiah Thomas, the home Isaiah Thomas, and it has the full name on the back, the Isaiah Thomas jersey. I remember seeing, they had a pillar in the store, like a little pillar, and it came down. And they like on the different sides of the pillar, they like put hang like a hook or something where they can hang like a jersey or a jacket or whatever on each side of the pillar. And I remember I was in there for one of the sales. I don't remember which one, but I was in there and I was just going through all the jerseys. It was literally like Christmas Day going through all this stuff. It was just, one after another. And I remember looking over and I looked at the pillar and I saw the Isaiah Thomas jersey there, and it was so that it was the back of it. So you saw the Isaiah Thomas, and I always thought that thing looked so cool, but I just wasn't going after basketball at that time, so I never got it. And of course, years later, it became one I really wanted to get, and I finally was able to get it from another collector, and it was just And the other one that I will always remember, and I always think this is so funny because this is one of those jerseys everyone wants to get, right? And I saw it for how many, it must have been how many, like a couple years. The thing was just sitting there on the wall because they had some jerseys on the wall. Now they were for sale, but they were, up. And I just remember it there because it is one that stands out, is the older run Mitch Richmond Kings checkerboard. And for you know what I'm talking about, right? The older run, not the newer one that they came out with some years ago, the older one. Thing was sitting on a wall. It was just up. And again, if I was collecting basketball, that would have been mine a lot sooner than it took for me to finally get it. Many years later. But I remember seeing that. I remember there was a rack of basketball. I like the Bulls, so they had the Bulls. And at the time, it was like, they didn't have Jordans. They didn't have any of the Jordan jerseys out. Or maybe they did. I forget. Maybe they had some of them. They probably did. They probably had like the original Dunk jersey and that stuff. They probably had that there. But I remember distinctly seeing the Reggie Theus. That was like one of the first ones that I saw. And then I think I saw the Gilmore, with the scripted Chicago since I've picked up both of them. But I remember seeing them back then. And at first I thought it was Jordan. And I looked at it's 24. And I looked at the back and I even forgot Theus played on the Bulls. I thought, oh, Theus, okay. But I remember seeing them, but I didn't buy them because I wasn't really into getting the basketball jerseys back then. And, yeah, man, all the old stuff used to be there, and it was just everywhere. Racks of it. If we went to something like that today, us Jersey heads, if we went somewhere and saw racks of older run Mitchell and Ness, our heads would explode. But that's what it was. It was older run on demand. It's just all there, and it was paradise. And it was just those old trips to the store, and just how excited I was about it, and just. I still get excited going there for the sales, even though the product isn't what it used to be, and whatever, but I'm still a fan. That's still my brand of choice. I wear Mitchell & Ness more than, any other brand probably, and it still means something to me to go to the sales. It's still something I look forward to. So I look forward to going next Saturday, and I don't know exactly how many sales I've been to. It's got to be quite a few, because it's been since like 2007. I remember 2007 winter sale. That was my first sale at the store. And I will always remember that because I bought the Joe Carter 93 World Series jersey saying that I forgive Joe Carter. Now the Phillies are going to start winning again. And they did. I like to have a little hand in what they did. But, yeah, it was the winter sale of 2007, but I had been to the store, a few times prior to that, and the first jersey I ever bought from there was on a sale rack. It was the Kellen Winslow Chargers jersey from '84, I believe, so it has the AFL anniversary patch on there. It's the white jersey, and yeah, those trips to the old store, and there's been a lot of memories at sales. I from the current store too. The original first sales they had in there, they opened up the second floor, which now they use for storage. But back then they opened it up and they had all the jerseys out there, and they still had some of the older stuff. And going up there and seeing all the jerseys, it kind of brought back the memories, of the old location. I remember, speaking of Father's Day sales years ago at the current store, they had the make your price rack. Where you can basically offer them whatever within reason. But they had a rack of older run stuff, and you could basically, make them offers on stuff. That was one of the more strange sales, but I made out like a bandit in that sale. I must have gotten like 7 jerseys for about, what was it, 200, 300, whatever it was, but it was like crazy. The $100 jersey sale for Black Friday those years ago that everyone was having problems online because the site kept crashing. I just went to the store. And at that time, they had everything up on the second floor for that sale too. I remember getting the Sean Alexander Seahawks jersey at the store one year. It was just so random to see it there. It was one that I really wanted to, and it was like a Black Friday or something like that, and it was just there, and I just was so happy, to get that. And I got my old run Steve Largent that day too, the blue one. Like I said, there's so many memories, good memories of all these different sales and just being there and hanging out with friends, with the Big Slim or Peter Tom Willis and Mark M, of course. I've seen Ken Clark at the sale before. I remember meeting up with A-Rock years ago at the older store on Chestnut Street. He was doing a video there, and he told me he was going to be there, so we said we'd meet up that day and went there and was in one of his videos with him, and that was a lot of fun. We were in there just talking shop and looking at jerseys and just having a good time. So I've seen a lot of guys at the store over the years, and I'm sure there's others I'm just kind of forgetting on, but it's always been a good experience. I always look forward to it. Even though it isn't what it used to be, it's still something I look forward to. And since now we're at the point of another sale, I thought, it'd be kind of cool to do a little vlog on that, kind of reminisce a little bit, just talking about the old days and the current days, at the sales and just having a good time. I mean, this is what it's about. This is what collecting is about. And this is kind of why I ended the last vlog with, you got to have fun. People sometimes, I think, worry about different things, and they... the politics gets in the way a lot, but you got to have fun with it. And you got to remember, why do you collect? And kind of just hold on to that. Because if you don't do it for fun, it ain't no sense doing it. Believe me. You got to have fun with it. And I always try to do so. I take great passion in it, as you guys know. And, so I do. I thank Mitchell and Ness for having these sales. They could easily not do it, and I know retail industry, you have to do it to move product. But they do it probably more than some other companies might do. And, I'm still thankful for that. I just wish the Jordan jerseys would be part of it. Although, the one sale, they were. And I'll end on that. The one sale years ago, Big Slim likes to remind me about this because he was there. He bought a Jordan jersey during the sale, and I didn't, because I thought that I'd be able to get for the next sale. I already had like my haul, and I thought I would be able to get one for the next sale, and then of course it was the winter sale, and then Father's Day sale came along. At the time, I wanted to get the '98 Jordan All-Star. I thought I'd be able to, and of course it wasn't on sale at that one. It was like a one-time deal, and I missed out on it. Of course, years later, I got it on eBay, but still, it was like, damn it. But no. So I look forward to it, and of course, as you know, after I have my pickups from the sale, I'll do the Father's Day wrap-up pickup vid for you guys, and then of course after that, at the end of the month, will be the rest of the pickups of June. Yes, we're in June now. The months are just flying by. But anyhow, that's going to do it for this vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I've rambled on for about close to a half hour. That's what I do. I'm glad you guys enjoy these vlogs. They're fun to make. I will continue doing so. And don't forget to check me out on Instagram, MightyFan, all one word. And I will have my collection posted on there, 10 jerseys at a time. So so be on the lookout for that. Of course, there'll be more vids coming your way. So yeah, the train keeps rolling. So anyhow, big shout outs to all the subscribers, my fellow Jersey heads, all family, friends, fellow DeviantArt members, all the groups on Facebook. Anyone I'm forgetting, maybe I'll see someone there next Saturday at the sale. Maybe I'll see some other Jersey heads there. You never know who's going to show up. So anyhow, all right, everyone. Well, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, peace. Bye.